As sheriff, I attended numerous schools by the state of Wisconsin for new sheriffs and so forth, as well as other training, missing and exploited children and so forth. Each year, annually, I take 24 hours of in-service training. I've had supervisory training, and I've had any additional training that has come up that I feel would behoove the department and the people of this county by attending that training. As stated, I've been sheriff for 12 years. Prior to that, I was deputy sheriff with Juneau County, and prior to that I worked as officer in charge of the village of Camp Douglas. Thank you.
Next, Sid.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here tonight. I appreciate your attendance and your care about the county. I am Tom Sid, lifelong resident of Juneau County. My background is simply that I've been a law enforcement officer for the vast majority of my adult life. I have 35 years of experience as a law enforcement officer, all of it in Juneau County. I worked under the 7 sheriffs, dating back to Jack Ripley. If some of you were here, I'm sure they remember Jack. Raised on a dairy farm in the township of Marion. Like the sheriff, I've had supervisory training. My career includes stints as a jailer, dispatcher, traffic patrol officer, traffic sergeant for 5 years, and my career culminated with 13 years, a little better than 13 years as a detective for the Sheriff's Department. Those duties included petty thefts on up to homicides. With that said, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Next, Seth Tully.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd also like to thank everybody for being here, for listening, and the Republican Party for sponsoring this very important event, in my opinion. I've been in law enforcement since 1999 and have enjoyed it every day that I put that belt on and go to work. I've worked for the Juneau County Sheriff's Department part-time, doing boat patrol, park patrol, and jail. I've worked for the Necedah Police Department, spending the time as the Chief of Police since 2003 until 2009, where I took another supervisory job as a patrol lieutenant with the Adams County Sheriff's Department. I worked part-time for the City of Elroy, City of Boston, Wisconsin State Park System, bringing a vast, broad experience from just about every aspect that law enforcement can bring. And I think we can bring that all together into one area here in Juneau County and put it to good use.
All right, thank you. Now to the questions as submitted by the local media. And the 3 reporters who are here tonight are Chris Walker of the Juneau County Star-Times, June Gill, WRJC, and we invited Betty Waits of the Messenger of Juneau County. The first question comes from Chris Walker, Juneau County Star-Times. For all 3 candidates, what are the 1 or 2 things you'd like most to change about the Sheriff's Department if elected? Tom Sims.
Well, honestly, and what I've been hearing about the most, and I feel it too, the situation with the public, what I would call humiliation of some of our deputies in the department going through discipline hearings. That caused a lot of embarrassment and concern to this county. I certainly wouldn't want it done to me. I certainly don't want it done to the families of the people who are alleged to have done wrongdoing. I'm going to end that. It's not going to be handled like that anymore. Secondly, I'd like to take and bring back the camaraderie we seem to be lacking in that agency and throughout the agencies in Juneau County. We need to work together. Times are getting tough for the public. We can't be spending money foolishly. One of my big goals with this, there's a raise for the sheriff coming up this next term. I'm not going to take that raise throughout my term. There's too many people hurting out there, folks. And I can't do much about the tax issues that there are right now, but that's one thing I can do, and I'm not going to take that raise. If there's no other option, okay, fine, then I'll use it to other uses, like perhaps the Safe Driver program at the cavalry, perhaps getting uniforms for the prisoner patrol officers who take them from place to place that they currently are not funded for their uniforms. But I will not take that raise. Thank you.
Next, Seth Tully.
I also would like to bring a positive difference to this county. I don't fault any one person, but I do believe that we can make a positive difference in things. When somebody does something wrong, absolutely there should be consequences. There is between an officer and somebody who violates a crime, just as there should be in employment. Saying that, there should be, make sure that everything is in order when you bring that to the table. And that's not to say that it hasn't, but we need to make sure that the T's are crossed, the I's are dotted, and things are in order. The other thing would be technology. I've stated it before in different forums and in media articles that we do need to jump more into the 21st century. I understand that some things cost money. There's other things we can offset. If we're spending less on attorney fees, we might be able to use that in technology. We need to keep with it and join with the other law enforcement agencies in the county to make that happen. There's grants out there that are, you can obtain larger amounts if you join with the other law enforcement agencies. They have smaller budgets dramatically than the Sheriff's Department's budget. And if you can join together to make those things happen, maybe everybody could be on the same system, creating better officer safety, more efficiency to the Juneau County residents, and improving what we're already working on, just making it better.
And Brenda Olson.
Two things, I guess. First of all, regarding the personnel issues. For those of you who've been county residents for a long period of time, you know the Sheriff's Office was not without issue when I took over. We had many personnel issues. We were on the front page of the paper every week. When I took over, that was a thing of the past for the most part. We had pretty much 8-9 years where we didn't have any personnel issues. We certainly had personnel issues, but they did not drag on. This last year and a half, 2 years, has been more frustrating for me than anybody in this room here tonight. My job as the sheriff, when a deputy commits misconduct, it's my job to conduct a fair and impartial investigation. If when that investigation is complete, termination is warranted, then it's my job to seek the termination. In the mid-90s, the sheriff terminated. Anymore, it's a grievance committee that was established that terminates the deputy. And it's my job to bring that to that committee. Now, that being said, the last thing I do once I conduct that fair and impartial investigation is put on my case in front of the committee. Each time I've requested the termination of a deputy sheriff, the committee has found all 7 standards of just cause to be met by statute, and they have terminated that employee. How they do it after that is up to them. And quite frankly, it should be the county attorney's picture on the front page every week and not mine, because it's council that handles that from there on out. And it's been frustrating, but I'm not going to turn my back on any issue, any deputy that needs to go. I'm going to bring those charges forth because I have a statutory duty to do that. So, regarding the other issue, one thing I'd like to implement, and I've been trying to implement for a couple of years, is neighborhood watch through technology. Nobody has the time to make meetings, but the public has knowledge, and with that knowledge we can solve crimes. So what we need to do is do it on an internet-based system. That's been put on hold because of the new county phone system. But I anticipate on implementing that in the near future. Thank you.
Our next question comes from Juneau from WRAC. Please outline the differences between the position of undersheriff and the position of chief deputy, and why you prefer to organize your office using one rather than the other. Seth Tully.
First, I'll say that my position is I believe it should stay as an undersheriff position. The difference between the two, undersheriff is an appointed position by the sheriff. In the population of Juneau County, that doesn't need to be made within the first 30 days. The larger populated counties would have to be made within 30 days. Chief deputy is a higher position, and in this county it would probably go to a committee after the sheriff makes a recommendation of choices with applications, background checks, etc. The reason I state that the undersheriff position should be a appointed position, if you had a hired chief deputy that did not want the elected sheriff coming in, how hard would it be to be the Lone Ranger in a department where you had no support coming in? I think the undersheriff position needs to be there so you can select a candidate from either within the department or a qualified person from that lives in the county that may not work for the sheriff's department. So you have a person to bat in your corner with you, somebody that can help you complete the budgets, help you hand out discipline if need be, and to make the department run smoothly. The chief deputy could also be changed in 4 years when a new sheriff is elected or such. Chief deputy stays either until retirement, resigning, or firing. So that could create a lot of hardships. So my support is under an undersheriff position.
Brett Olson.
I just want to address one other issue that came up earlier, and that is on the question of raises. I will state that any time the county employees have taken a furlough day, I have taken a furlough day. I'm not required to do that as an elected official, but I think that that should be shared by every county employee, and that's what I've done. As far as undersheriff versus chief deputy, chief deputy, Monroe County has a chief deputy, Jackson County has a chief deputy. They do not have the success overall for the same reasons Mr. Tully mentioned. You need to have somebody in there that you trust. You need to have somebody in there that is on the same page as you, that is loyal to you. Certainly a chief deputy may not be as loyal to you as they are to themselves and so forth. So I think the undersheriff position is better off. It has not worked well in surrounding counties. Several of the bigger counties have a chief deputy position, but the majority of your smaller ones, I would estimate, have the undersheriff position. And I think it's worked well here in Juneau County. Certainly, ultimately, that decision is up to the county board, and whatever they do decide to do, I will honor it, and I will work with that individual. Thank you.
Tom says.
I'd like to see a chief deputy position, simply that the undersheriff's position is yet another political position. All you're doing is getting another politician into law enforcement, and we got to get away from that, folks. As I understand it now, there's about 3 or 4 undersheriff positions left in the entire state. Now, with the chief deputy, you can set what you want for credentials, i.e. some education, some administrative background, no criminal records. With all due respect, I think some of the past undersheriff issues speak for themselves. I will push for a chief deputy. You need that in a sheriff turnover. You got the stability to carry through. Instead of these policy issues all the time, this guy would be, or a lady, whichever the case may be, this person would be able to maintain consistency in the policy and carry over from realm to realm. We get away from all this political garbage that you're seeing, you're hearing, and if my number 2 in command says I'm doing something wrong, well, I'd rather hear it from them than to find out that I got a criminal charge coming on me because I did something that I was way out of line. An undersheriff, on the other hand, he's just going to be your yes man. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it.